Good morning, friends. We're on the old backup stream today. That's why we're running late. For whatever reason, our after a couple of reboots and everything, I could not get our regular stream working. So, apologize for our late arrival today. Hello, good morning. Hey, Sharon, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Apologize for the... How is everybody? Hey, Donna, good morning to you. Sorry, everyone. Hey, John, good morning. Karen, good morning to you. Happy Valentine's Day. Irene, happy Valentine's Day to you. Hope you're grand. Good morning, everybody. I apologize for the late start today. We just keep having technical issues here on this end, so we're working to get them together. But yeah, happy Valentine's Day all. So good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. All right. Let's get going this morning on this it is Valentine's Day on this 14th day of February at 11. Well, it's not really 11:11. We know we're late, but welcome anyway. That we might come together on this day and continue our journey together. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're a part of our little fest here that we have going on. It is Valentine's Day, and this kind of high hallmark holiday of love, which we find ourselves in, it's if you don't know, the first thing we should know about Valentine's Day is always remember that it is first and foremost a Christian holiday. There are plenty of people out there who want to tell you it is otherwise, that it was somehow kind of some glommed on pagan festival, blah 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 blah. None of that stuff is true. If it happens, in fact, to correspond with these festivals, it is because it is actually offered as a counterpoint and a conquering to these festivals, not as a retooling of them. This is one of the most misunderstood things about all sorts of Christian festivals that come along. But the thing I want us to hold up today is if you want to know the story of Saint Valentine, you can certainly go look that up. But I actually want us to step back a little further and just kind of consider this thing called love. To quote a great band, that we find ourselves in the midst of. Whether it is the depth of romantic love that we see showing up, whether it's the kind of the beauty of and resilience of Christian love that seeks to bring all good things into the world, no matter that. But just this notion that the two people ought to care about each other, and particularly two people that aren't necessarily related might care about each other. We don't understand today what a revolutionary idea that is. How absolutely wackadoodle crazy this notion that we might actually engage the world with love, and that we might encounter the world with some semblance of love and compassion. That every institution that we think of, every institution that you think of in the world, that is born out of kindness to the neighbor, if you want to put it that way, was born out of Christianity. Do you like having hospitals? Well, hospitals are a direct result of the early Christians deciding that somebody needs to care for that their love of Christ has called them to care for the sick and to overcome disease. Do we like having universities? Well, that the love of learning was and the imbuing of the love of learning to overcome the poverty and the difficulty and the brokenness of the world that was inherently founded by the first Christian saints. That and it's not to say there wasn't learning prior to Christianity, but it was that this might come not out of a place of like, I'm going to get all of the learning so that I can go master the world, which was kind of basically what other learning was in the past, or I'm going to get healthy so that I can, I'm pain free, which was what a lot of the doctoring was in the world. But the notion that because there's a human being before us, that human being should be cared for, or human being should be educated, or that human being should be loved. That is inherently and foundationally what the impact of Christianity has been on the world. So when we look at Valentine's Day, this notion of romantic love, which is just another one of these, and you can apply it to every part of your life. Any part of your life that you think about has been radically altered. Now, it might have been a long time ago, and you might not know it, but it was radically altered from the world, both prior to Jesus, but also as a result of the operation of the Christian church in the world over time. And every one of them is better. Every single one of them. That it doesn't matter where you find yourself in this. If you're if you happen to be a woman and you don't like being treated like property, if you happen to be like, that is inherently linked to the Christian journey in this world, to the call of Christ. If we like a world without slavery, if we like a world without, how can we put it, with a kind of a dislike for violence, or just maybe a pastiche at least that says that violence is not the way we want to move through this world, then all of that comes back to the Christian church. There's nothing that the church didn't touch that it didn't improve. Now, did it improve it perfectly? No. Now, was it locked in its time and space? Yes. It's not to say that everything that's ever been done by every person that's claimed that is claimed to be done in the name of Christ was done well. Not the point. But the larger movement from Saint Valentine himself, who holds up that couples that might be in love should actually be married. This is such an incredible, revolutionary idea that prior to, and this is true much after Saint Valentine too. But Valentine begins to, but the fact that Valentine is lauded for his efforts of holding up the covenantal commitment of people who love each other. That that actually found its way into the church history and is a part of the wider canon of belief as a good idea is already radical beyond belief. The vast majority of people who have ever lived on this planet, and in fact, most of the people probably, I haven't done the math, but probably a goodly number of the people that live on this planet right now will marry or will find themselves in a relationship that is probably not of their own making. That they're either kind of they're bought, they're sold, their parents put their relationship together, their larger tribe put their relationship together. That the fact that you should fall in, that your heart might tell you to fall in love with someone, or you might be led to willfully connect your life to another person, human being, through covenant. That, again, with all these other things that the Christian church has contained, that love impacted. That God's love for the world impacted these things. Hospitals, universities, slavery, suffragists, and you name it. All of it takes its origin back to the fact that God loves the world and that God wants good things for you and for me and for each one of us. And those good things come both through the expansion of our both human freedom, but also human capacity and human choice and love. That God's love that we find in Paul, that we often find read at weddings wrongly, because Paul isn't talking about romantic love. He's talking about God's love for us in operation in our world that touches all the things. It just doesn't touch. It just doesn't touch, the person that we might want to snuggle up with at night. It doesn't just touch that. It touches every single part of our life: our economic life, our political life, our romantic life, our familial life, our educational life. That all of it is dictated and bound and illuminated by God's love for us. C.S. Lewis puts it this way. He says, "I believe in Christianity as I believe in the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else." And that when he says Christianity, we can read into that God's love for humanity, God's love for you and for me and for all the things that are incumbent as a part of our life. The Taylor Swift song on the radio and everything in between. When Paul quotes this passage from the Corinthians, he's not just talking about what makes our heart go pitter patter. He's talking about every single thing that we're going to encounter in the course of our lives. Where that all of the ways in which we're going to understand and all of the ways in which we're going to fail to understand. All of the ways that we're going to seek to walk in the way of Christ, and all the ways that we're going to seek that we're going to find ourselves out in the ditch. That both the falling and the rising and all of the things, our emotional life, our physical life, our psychological life, our heart, our bodies, all of it is bound by God's love for us. And that the greatest of it, the heart of it, the center of it, the most pure of it, and the most guiding and transformational for all of humanity is this love. So I want to read it to you. And I hope you can hear it maybe through that lens on this Valentine's Day. That it's not just about having a snuggle buddy, but it's about understanding and knowing that God's love and God's grace is with us and upon us and surrounds us, and that we find it every time we encounter love wherever we find it. Every time we step out in love in our life. This 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or clanging cymbal. if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and I give over my body to the hardship that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, they will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. And when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, and then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Friends, on this Valentine's Day, I hope you know it's more than candy hearts and be mine Valentines. Or it's even more than the self-sacrificial work of a saint 1,400 years ago. It is actually the work of God's love in your life right now. The work of God's love with humanity in all aspects of humanity, right down to the very trust and love and person of and heart that you have beating in your chest right now. Step out and step into this love, the one that God has for you, but also the one that in it you may share it with the world, and that it might set right the places that we speak and don't get it right. That it might set right the places that we get our ego and ourself and all the things that we want all tangled up in it. That it might set right our own pride or our own weakness. That God's love will cover all things and guide us into the very greatest of light and love in God's love for us itself. That's my hope for you today on this Valentine's Day. I am so glad each of one of you are here. Again, I apologize for the late hour. So glad that each of you made it. Kristen, glad you're here. Cheryl, glad you're here. Cecile, that's so nice you made it. All the best to you. Peace and grace to you on this Valentine's Day, my friends. And we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.